We are working with a type tool today. So I would like you to get three panels open, your character panel, your layers panel, and your swatch panel. And then we're going to slide over to the type tool, which is this tool that begins with a T. I mean, it looks like a T. And there's several tools underneath that. And we're going to work with the horizontal type tool and the vertical type tool today. So what I would like you to do is take your vertical type tool, select that, and then come on over to the template, which you've opened, which is the Wildflower Conservation template. And we are going to, so of course, save it with your last name and then Wildflower Conservation template. And we're going to make an insertion point with our cursor with the type tool. Now, when we do that, it's a new feature of Photoshop 2020. The type will fill with placeholder text and you'll convert it to whatever text you want it to say. So you'll type in the correct type. Now, placeholder text is text that is put in position on a layout for the designer to indicate the type, style, the size, the kerning, the tracking, all the elements that you need to do when you're designing without the copy that you need. So this may happen because the writer isn't finished writing it or the owner of the business doesn't know exactly what he wants to say, but you can continue designing using placeholder text. So, and you will be using placeholder text in your prototype assignment. You don't need to fill in every paragraph of the prototype. You just need to put in the graphic elements, the larger graphic elements, so we get an idea of what the type is going to look like. Okay, so we're going to make an insertion point, and there it is. So I'm going to use my move tool to just move it down. I had already selected a color in my set foreground color. So you can do that by double clicking the set foreground color and the color picker will come up and you can select your color. So I wanted this purple, so I thought it would go well with the image, and I just say, okay. And that is in your foreground color. Okay. So now using my vertical type tool, I am going to select this. So I'm going to highlight it. You can highlight it by triple clicking, and that will give you a selection of the entire type. So I'm going to type in wildflower. Okay. So that looks pretty good. We're going to center it in that space. And just a note on vertical type, it's not used often in design, graphic design. It's actually kind of frowned upon, but occasionally you will need it. So we're just showing it to you in case you have those rare instances, but I wouldn't use a lot of the vertical type in your web design. Okay. So once again, I'm going to just select this and option left arrow just to make it a little tighter. Okay, so that's tracking it. And that looks a little better on the spacing. And what you do tracking for or kerning, you can kern in between individual characters by taking your text tool, placing the cursor where there's a little bit too much space between the W and the I. So then I'm going to go option left arrow and just make it a little smaller. Okay, same here. Once here. So I'm kerning these individual characters just to make it a little more legible. Okay, so then we have our wildflower word set. So just position it in the white bar really nicely. Then we're going to scroll over to the type tool again. And now we're going to use the horizontal type tool. And we're going to place it right about here. And we're typing the word conservation. And we're going to apply like a fun effect to that with our warp button, our type warp button. Okay, so let's type out the word conservation. And of course, lorem ipsum comes in there. So type conservation. I'm going to use it in all caps again. And you can pick any font that you like. I like this Arial Rounded. It's kind of a nice, fun font. So that's a pretty good size. I don't really care for the color because you can't read on top of that picture. So I'm going to use my horizontal type tool again, triple click, which will select the whole thing. And then I'm going to just use this little arrow and switch the background and foreground colors, and that will become white. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, so now I'm going to select it all again, triple click, and I'm coming up here to my tool option bar, and this is the create warp text button. So what you do is you press on that, and then you get some um, choices here, which one you want. So you can try a couple of them. Let's see what squeeze looks like. I don't care for that at all. You can skew it one way or the other. It's kind of like the Star Wars effect. Vertical distortion. Oh, yes, there it is. The Star Wars effect right there. But we don't want to do that. Let's go to fisheye. Okay, unsqueeze it. Nope, we don't really want to do that either. It's kind of hard to read. Shell lower or upper? I'm going to try the upper. That's kind of fun. I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to make it a little smaller. So I am going to, with it selected, Command Shift less than is the keyboard to make type smaller or bigger. Command Shift less than, Command Shift greater than. And there's the effect. You can try any effect you want, use any typeface you want. And there's the kind of like the shell upper, it's called. I'm going to use that. And then the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a column of type. And it's going to be filled with placeholder text, which is just fine. And that's what you're going to use for your prototype. So we're going to use the horizontal type tool again. And these tools are called type or text. In other programs are called text. So, you know, that's why there's the switching between type and text, but they're the same thing. Okay, so I drew kind of like a marquee with my horizontal text tool. And there you go. It's filled with type. Now you can go to your character panel and make it smaller. 36 on 44. We can make the leading just a little bigger. 48. And we're going to keep it white. So there you go. So those are 3 ways to use the type tool. And we'll work with the masks on Monday. So just get that turned in. And that's your working with type. Okay, very simple.